They're coming for the belt, and they're coming for the bag.
They're all about knocking each other out of the tournament.
Yes, I'm on a mission.
The $1 million Bellator Lightweight Grand Prix begins with a monster match. Undefeated 24-year-old champ Usman Nurmagomedov makes his first title defense against 30-win veteran Benson Henderson.
I'm a certified winner.
Bellator MMA, tonight on Showtime.
Bellator MMA is back in the Bay Area, baby. And March may mean madness on the hardwood, but it's MMA mayhem in the Bellator cage. The Shark Tank in San Jose, California is set to host a feeding frenzy of action, including the launch of the 8-man, $1 million Lightweight World Grand Prix. And two quarterfinal matches will take the spotlight, with newly crowned champion Usman Nurmagomedov putting his perfect record and the title on the line against one of the most decorated 155ers in the sport, Benson "Smooth" Henderson. Tofik Musayev, who conquered the Rise Lightweight Grand Prix in the land of the rising sun. He takes on Alexander Shabli, who is streaking with 7 consecutive victories. In a top 10 heavyweight showdown, #1 ranked contender Valentin Moldavsky meets the #2 ranked Linton Big Swarm Vassell, who has reeled off 4 consecutive wins since being appointed by Moldavsky in Vassell's return to heavyweight 4 years ago. And the Bellator 292 main card begins with an ultimate clash of styles. Bellator's greatest knockout artist, Michael Venom Page, collides with the promotion's sultan of submissions, Goichi Yamauchi. Alongside Big John McCarthy, I'm Mauro Ranallo, Amanda Guerra, and Josh Thompson are at the fight desk. We are going to kick off this party of pain with a 6-pack of scraps leading into the blockbuster main card at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific on Showtime. Middleweights taking center stage. Theo Haig, who was successful in his Bellator debut, looks to spoil the promotional debut of Adam Walmsley.
Like you said, in his first fight in Bellator, Theo Haig was all over the back of his opponent. Beautiful rear naked choke, took his time, set it up, and once he had it, look how he sneaks that hand in behind. Very tight. You can see the pressure. Theo Haig, all-around game. We'll see if Adam Walmsley can use that power to stop it.
And which of the numbers that comprise the tail of the tape jump out at you, Mr. McCarthy?
Man, you gotta look at that reach, a 76-inch reach for Theo Haig. He loves to fight on the ground, but on the feet, Walmsley is a guy who throws bombs. Is he gonna want to use that length or try to get it to the ground?
He is the universal voice of Bellator MMA. Let's say hello to Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to those on the East Coast joining us tonight. And good afternoon and welcome to those with us live here at the SAP Center. We are back in San Jose, California tonight for Bellator 292, where we get the action kicked off now with 3 5-minute rounds in the middleweight division. Introducing first, the blue corner. At 6 foot, weighing in 185 pounds even. His professional record, 2-2. He fights out of Napa, California, Adam the Father Walmsley. And across the cage, his adversary out of the red corner. At 6'2", weighing in 184.2 pounds. As a professional, early on, 1 victory, no defeats by way of Campbell. He fights out of San Jose, California, Theo Haig. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge, Jonathan Romero.
Set for action in the middleweight division, Theo Haig won his Bellator and professional debut. He is trying to spoil Adam Walmsley's debut in Bellator MMA. Walmsley looking to celebrate his 32nd birthday a few days late. He turned 32 on Wednesday.
Fight, are you ready? Fight, are you ready? Fight!
First of what is a scheduled 3 rounds at 185 pounds, and Haig immediately hunts down Walmsley, changes levels, and looks for the takedown and secures it for the moment.
And that's a smart move by Theo Haig. We talked about it just at the start as far as, look, Walmsley has power. Let's put him in bad situations. Walmsley does have good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, good submission defense. We'll see how he gets out of this. He does.
Haig all over Walmsley early. Haig with the rear naked choke in his professional debut with a knee on the exit. Walmsley trying to fire back. When we asked Haig his prediction, he said, I'm going to win via flying armbar, to which I responded, who do you think you are? Shudo Staple, Moonwolf, Ruben Asado, John?
That's going backwards, but that was a beautiful drop in levels right there by Theo Haig to get the takedown again.
And Walmsley needs to settle the pace. It's been a chaotic start.
Yeah, well, right now he's fighting for his life because Theo Haig is all over him, up and down, taking him to the ground several times now. We'll see what Theo Haig can do. He's trying to pass for position here, get into that side control, now steps right into half guard.
Haig representing the legendary AKA American Kickboxing Academy here in San Jose, California.
Beautiful step over by Theo Haig. He just stepped right over. He was in mount.
Walmsley
all over him, right into S-mount basically right now. He is just manhandling Adam Walmsley.
Walmsley represents Dave Terrell's NorCal Fighting Alliance. Dave Terrell, of course, a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and for Walmsley, not a lot, of course, to go on. 2-2 coming into this, his Bellator MMA debut, and trying to end a 2-fight losing streak. He has been behind the proverbial 8-ball here as Haig is looking for the Kimura.
Yes, he is looking for the Kimura. He's got that locked up. It's a matter of can he extend and bring that elbow straight up, get that arm away from the body.
An aggressive start by Theo Haig, the 26-year-old, back to their feet, but again, Haig in the striking department. Walmsley firing back now with lefts and rights. And again, Haig able to change levels, but this time he got caught, John.
This time he put his head there. You can see Walmsley now just controlling his head. It's really not a guillotine right now, but Walmsley's in a position. Bring up knees. There you go.
Walmsley was submitted in his last fight, but is looking for his first submission. Now with position, going to turn the tables and try to put Haig in trouble, but Haig very active, John, never willing to settle for whatever defensive or neutral position he's put in, jumping for the guillotine choke.
For the second time, this time it's a lot tighter. He's got those legs activated with it. That is tight. You're seeing Walmsley trying to post up there.
2 minutes left in the first round. There's the tap. Off with his head. Adam Walmsley goes to the guillotine in his Bellator MMA debut via Theo, the executioner Haig, who is now 2-0 with 2 slick submissions.
2 beautiful submissions. He jumped to that guillotine early in the fight, then decided, no, I'm not going to go for it. Once he had him a little bit more tired, and he felt that he could sink that in, he dropped that in beautifully, and it was the activation of his legs, Morrow, that made the entire difference in this one. Watch when he takes the neck here of Adam Walmsley. Adam takes that knee, puts his head right to the side. Theo Haig slips it in, and once he slips it there, now he decides I'm jumping to it, gets those legs, and watch him extend those legs out to drive the hips of Walmsley back. Once he does that, that is tight, that is on the larynx, that hurts, it's painful. Tap it out.
It was nothing but a good flow for Theo Haig. Mullet mania running wild in San Jose, Big John. And
Joe Dirte would be proud.
2-0, and that's how you get things done. 2 finishes, and now continues to go back to the drawing board at American Kickboxing Academy. Middleweight division ruled right now by one of 3 undefeated champions in Bellator, by Johnny Eblen. And while Theo Haig may be a few fights away from fighting a guy like Johnny Eblen, you got to like what you see so far.
I mean, the one thing that you really have to like, look at all of that action that he brought. He kept going and going.
Let's make it official with Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, inside the Bellator cage, the official time, 3 minutes, 1 second in round number 1. The tap by way of a guillotine, the winner by submission. He's still undefeated, Theo
Theo Haig thrilling the audience here at the Shark Tank in San Jose, California. And this venue, a cathedral of combat sports, and it was 17 years ago today that this arena played host to California's first ever legally sanctioned professional MMA event, the first MMA event promoted by Bellator MMA president Scott Coker. It was Frank Shamrock versus Cesar Gracie, with Shamrock starching Gracie in 21 seconds in front of 18,285 fans, a sellout arena. It also featured the professional MMA debut of a future Frank Shamrock foe, Kung Lee. And it had Clay Guida and Josh Thompson battling for the lightweight title, with Chuck Norris, who's celebrating a birthday today, handing the championship belt to the winner. Now, to identify who that was, let's go to Amanda Guerra. I'll let her ask Josh Thompson who won the fight that night.
Oh, it's hard to believe, Mauro. That was 17 years ago tonight. Amanda Guerra, Josh Thompson with you here all night on the Fight Test. Two-time world champ. First of all, so 2006. I assume this night still plays in your head. And you do have to tell us the outcome of the fight.
No, I don't like to talk about the past, but I fought a very dominant, I don't even say dominant, I would say very action-packed Clay Guida. Somebody that just brought the action, man. He was somebody that I admired to this day. I think he's a fantastic fighter, and I'm so blessed to have shared that night with him in this cage. And obviously I wanted it to go my way, but he brought it. Nothing else I can say.
Who is more gray now?
I don't know. I got to take a look at him. I haven't seen him in a while. I haven't seen him in a while. He will be here tonight, though, by the way. He'll be in the arena.
So many of those people on that card, it's really incredible, are going to be here tonight. All right, we are kicking off the Bellator Lightweight World Grand Prix. Josh, you fought at lightweight, won 2 belts there. One of them here, I believe. Different night that was. I mean, how incredible is this Grand Prix going to be with how stacked this division is?
It's going to be fantastic. Look, really what we're doing is we're ushering the new lightweights in Bellator, and this is the deepest this division's ever been in Bellator. You've got Usman Nurmagomedov, you've got Benson Henderson, you've got Tofik Mosayev, Alexander Shabi, and obviously everyone else that's in this tournament. These are the ones that are fighting tonight, and they're ushering this in tonight, and it's going to be fantastic because, like I said, there's a lot of history in this venue.
First of all, really quickly, I looked up the top songs in 2006. Was your favorite Hips Don't Lie by Shakira, Sexy Back by Justin Timberlake, or Danny California by the Chili Peppers?
That was my jam, Sexy Back.
Yeah, it still is, I think. All right, the road to $1 million, it begins tonight. And for many of these fighters, the bigger prize is pride in that championship belt. The Lightweight World Grand Prix, it kicks off tonight.
If there's one thing that separates Bellator MMA from other promotions, it has to be the World Grand Prix.
8 men vying for the $1 million Grand Prix. This thing promises to be bananas.
And those winner-take-all events have produced magical moments.
Yes, sir!
And epic paydays.
The fairy tale ending has come true.
You just made Bellator write him $1 million check.
For Bellator's best. Which means 2023 will be another big year for Bellator MMA as they wrap up their current bantamweight tournament.
The final is set. Rafion Stotts will face Patchy Mix for $1 million.
And immediately launch the $1 million Lightweight World Grand Prix. That's right, 8 of the most hungry, talented, and exciting 155ers will not only compete for the big check, but they'll be looking to capture Bellator gold as well. Let's take a look at the phenomenal field of fighters. Current undefeated world champion Usman Nurmagomedov faces his toughest test yet when he challenges former WEC and UFC world champ, MMA icon Benson Henderson.
Man, every fight at this point in my career is everything. It means everything. I am going to have the Bellator lightweight belt around my waist.
BJJ black belt, Brent Primus, takes on French submission king, Mansour Banoui.
Je suis venu ici pour Bellator pour prendre la ceinture comme mes amis, mes frères.
On the other side of the bracket, knockout artist, Tawfiq Mosayev.
Making a statement in his Bellator debut.
And Alexander Shabli battle for their spot in the semi-final round.
Next time, my belt.
And MMA megastar, AJ Mercenary McKee.
The Mercenary claims another victim.
Draws former lightweight top dog, Tricky Pitbull.
I'm the king of chaos. Let's go!
The Key looks to be the only man to ever defeat both Pitbull brothers.
Don't take it personal, Pitbull, but I got a leash in the kennel waiting for you.
Who will be the last man standing and $1 million richer? I, for one, can't wait to find out.
This is one of the most talked about events in MMA right now, and it all kicks off tonight. We're going to start at the top right of your screen there with Tawfiq Mosayev, Alexander Shabli there facing off. And then on the left side, we have our champ Usman Nurmagomedov going up against Benson Henderson. Josh, this is a heck of a storyline between these two. Of course, you have Nurmagomedov, his family, deep roots in MMA. He is just 24 years old, already a champion, 16-0. And then you got that guy right there, Benson Henderson, 39. He has won 2 belts in other promotions. He wants to be one of the only fighters in history to have 3 belts in 3 promotions. And Josh, it could be Benson Henderson's last chance in his career at that belt tonight.
I look at this tournament, this is his last chance. At 39 years old, it's very hard to continue fighting in the lightweight division or lower weight classes because of the speed advantage that those young fighters have over you. Usman Nurmagomedov is no different. He's extremely fast. He knows how to use his range. And I'm telling you right now, I've been watching it for the last 3 weeks. Look for a very explosive fight and to start off fast.
You sparred with him. We'll talk about that later. Also, I found out something as we were rolling that feature you did. It was great. And what was one of your walkout songs?
I'm bringing sexy back.
Turns out he was very 2006, Mauro. We'll send it back down to you for the prelims. You're always bringing sexy back, Mauro Ranallo.
Oh, Amanda, thank you. But I got to go back to 2006 for Josh and mention Evanescence. Call me when you're sober. All right, featherweight action. Laird Anderson, undefeated at 3-0, taking on Rogelio Luna, who in his professional and Bellator MMA debut turned in one of the craziest fights you'll ever see.
And now, ready to make his way to the cage, please welcome Rogelio Rowdy Luna.
Nice round of applause for San Francisco's Rowdy Rogelio Luna. He's 31 years of age. And John, let's not waste any time. Let's get to the highlights of his professional debut against Socrates Hernandez. It left me breathless, and that's saying something.
Boy, to take your breath away, but it was amazing because these guys, you look and there's certain fights. Gotti Ward in boxing. Well, this was a Gotti Ward in the MMA cage. These guys, for 3 rounds, just went after each other with everything. Finally, in the 3rd round, Luna got the stoppage, TKO victory, referee decision in that. But what a fight. It just showed the heart and courage of Luna as an MMA fighter.
He said the nerves and pressure were huge, but so was his heart, and he channeled it in successful fashion. Now looking to go 2-0 in front of friends and family here in San Jose.
And we welcome now his opponent, Laird Anderson.
Second generation mixed martial artist. Laird Anderson's father, Lowell, competed in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. And hey, John, he even trained Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Hey, after roasting him, I guess I got to give Josh Thompson his flowers. He's a great coach, always wants to give back. And in fact, he was training BJJ with Anderson when Anderson was a toddler.
He was one of his instructors, and the worst part is, I'm talking about how old he is. Well, I used to actually train with Laird Anderson's father, Lowell, who was a fantastic BJJ stylist.
And speaking of fantastic, let's go back to November of last year when Laird Anderson stopped Rob Fennicle via TKO in the second round.
And look, this is his bread and butter, the ground, and that's the matchup difference. In the first fight, Luna had someone that would match him on the feet. Well, Laird will match him for a little bit, but he's going to try to take this fight to the ground and use all of those skills that he's had for most of his life.
Early in the night, early in their respective careers, somebody's has got to go. Let's go to the tail of the tape.
And when you're looking at this tail of the tape, you can see that Luna's got a nice advantage in the reach, and it is what he needs to use to get the victory here. 65-inch reach is very short for Laird Anderson, but the way he fights, he's not going to need it if he gets the fight where he wants it to be on the ground.
With the official introductions, here once again is Michael C. Williams.
For all those joining us tonight live on the stream on YouTube at both channels, Bellator MMA and Showtime Sports, we welcome you to San Jose as we continue now in the prelims to go to the featherweight division set for 3 5-minute rounds. And introducing first the blue corner. At 5'10", weighing in 144.8 pounds. His professional record 1-0. He fights out of Richmond, California, Rogelio Luna. And across the cage, his adversary fighting out of the red corner. At 5'7", weighing in 146 pounds even as a professional. 3 victories, no defeats. He fights out of Dallas, Texas by way of San Jose, California. Introducing Laird Anderson. And your referee in charge, Herb Dean.
Crowd is amped for this one. Laird Anderson used to train at AKA, now fights out of Fortis MMA in Dallas. Rowdy Roddy Piper, Rowdy Ronda Rousey, Rowdy Rogelio Luna. And the bell, round number 1. Luna switching stances early, going back and forth, darting in and out, trying to get Anderson to bite. Anderson, meanwhile, with a front kick to the midsection. John, you never want to oversimplify things, but at times it's not a simple striking versus grappler matchup because it is mixed martial arts, but those are their respective strong suits for Luna and Anderson, respectively.
Oh, no doubt about it. Both of them in the stand-up. Luna has got great boxing skills. He's got quick hands. He takes good lateral movement steps to put his opponent in a bad place, but right there, you just saw the stand-up skills of Laird Anderson. That was a beautiful left hand right down the pipe to the jaw, and here comes the kick.
Beautiful kick, another lead right hand by Anderson, goes back to southpaw. Opening minute, Anderson with a jumping knee, closes the distance and takes down Laird Anderson with the takedown of Rogelio Luna into the guard.
And this is when you have the type of ground game that Laird Hamilton had. I mean, Anderson has it. He's amazing as far as his control and his composure. As a young fighter, he just takes his time, gets the setup right into mount.
Smooth transition to mount. Lightning quick takedown. Luna in trouble. Anderson has his back body triangle employed, looking for the rear naked choke. And Anderson has a rear naked choke submission win against JT Donaldson in April of last year, looking for a second RNC, John.
And so much time on the clock to work with. He's got that body triangle. Luna's going the absolute wrong way to break that body triangle. Turns his back again. Now we're going with hooks by Anderson.
Yes, crank it, Laird, crank it.
2 minutes have elapsed here in the first round. Laird Anderson looking for the submission against Rogelio Luna, who has weathered the attempts thus far, but again, from this position, it's all Laird Anderson in control.
Well, Laird is in what we call a seatbelt position. That's where his arms are at. And that's what he's trying to do, is get Luna just a little bit away from the cage so it cannot stop him moving one side or the other.
And Anderson told us as
Getting tighter.
the midway point of this round, there are levels to mixed martial arts, and he's going to prove
It's now locked in.
And he is levels above Rogelio Luna as a submission artist. And Laird Anderson goes to 4-0 with his third finish, second via submission. And so, MMA, what have you done for me lately? For Rogelio Luna, the best of times, one of the all-time great fights in Bellator history in his debut, and then he gets taken out in the first round by Laird Anderson.
You know, again, in that everything's about the dance and who your partner is. And in that first fight, he had someone that wanted to just stand with him, and they wanted to throw their hands, and you had an incredible fight. Well, Laird Anderson was willing to trade with him on the feet, use his hands, but only to get to the takedown so he could use that skill set that puts him in a position to win the fight without ever being hurt.
Laird Anderson calls his style beautiful violence. It was on display here tonight.
Yeah, you saw the seatbelt, then he drags him away. That way he's now got the neck. You can see how he gets his hands. It's just a matter of getting his one hand free. Luna right now is in trouble. It's tight, but not enough. Now he locks it in and he's out right away. Great call by Herb Dean.
Words of encouragement, both of them just starting their MMA journeys. Great sign of sportsmanship from Rogelio Luna, who tastes defeat in his second pro fight. There's Sergio Salguera, Luna's trainer. It's so great to see the support for these young fighters just beginning their respective journeys.
Hey, that's world class. World class. Hey,
that is indeed world class.
Nothing but the best. Nice job, guys. Congratulations. Beautiful job. Hey.
A fraternity forged in blood, sweat, and tears and respect. And for Laird Anderson, just 24 years of age, already 4-0. All of his victories coming under the Bellator MMA banner. Trains with his brother, Elias. His father, a former professional fighter, and he is carrying on the tradition. Let's make it official with Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, inside the Bellator cage with the rear naked choke in tight, it comes to an end. 2 minutes, 41 seconds, round number one. The winner by technical submission, still undefeated, Laird Anderson.
Literally a lights-out performance for Laird Anderson as he submits Rogelio Luna to remain undefeated, and he is going to be talking with Big John McCarthy.
I am here with your winner, Laird Anderson. Laird, you put on a beautiful performance, not only on the ground, but on the feet. You landed some heavy strikes. That left hand right down the pipe got his bell rung a little bit, and when you were able to take the fight to the ground, you showed exactly where your superiority was.
Absolutely. I wanted to do exactly what I did in camp and just focus on all martial arts. I wanted to do the striking with the striker, and I wanted to exploit my grappling as well, but just for everyone out there to be able to see everything that I do, all the arts I put in, and it feels good to let it out in the cage.
Let it out, you did. You did a great job of using the seatbelt position to drag him away from the fence so you could use everything that you needed to get that choke locked in.
Yeah, it felt good. I'm always been good from that position. The back is one of my favorite places to attack from. It's the most control. And in MMA, when you have someone striking at you and you're on the back, you're in the best possible, in the safest position. So getting there, getting my attacks off from there, I'm always focused on that.
Well, it was a beautifully smart fight, but at 4-0, you now got to start looking at who is the person you should be facing in this cage next.
I don't have any names. I just want to get better. I want to go back to the gym. I moved to Dallas recently, Fortis MMA. I've been training with those guys, training with Coach Safe, and just soak that all in and get better and better every day with that new team.
Well, congratulations on a beautiful performance. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Laird Anderson.
Fortis MMA's Saif Saud has to be very impressed with his new protege as Laird Anderson improves to 4-0. And by the way, he's a huge anime and manga fan, and if anyone watching his recommendations, he wants you to shoot him a message on Instagram. My nephew introduced me to Baki, so hey, maybe I can hang with the cool kids. And by the way, Amanda, we roasted Josh earlier a little bit, and to be fair to him, we need to give him his props because he has been a part of Laird Anderson's journey, and he has to feel pretty good about what he saw tonight.
You know, Mauro, you and I are in the same thing, because I was going to say, Josh, we don't want this whole show to be about, you know, making you feel old here, because you worked with Laird and his brother when they were, what, 8 and 10 years old?
8 and 10 years old.
8 and 10. And I will say, when you heard he was 24, you had a little freak out, because I think you thought he was about 19 years old. But how exciting are they?
Well, what I love about them is they're so respectful. They're sponges. They absorb in whatever you want, and they're so eager to learn. And just the respect that they bring, taught through their dad. Their dad is a friend of mine as well, and their dad fought, you know, in top-level promotions across the board. The two of them are fantastic. They are going to be names to reckon with as this sport goes on.
Remember that name. We'll start with Laird Anderson there. Coming up later tonight in our main card, we have the beginning of the lightweight World Grand Prix. There is the bracket. We get 2 of those fights tonight, but Josh, you and I were talking, anybody could win this tournament. It is so wide open.
Yeah, I mean, you got guys like AJ McKee in there, and McKee is just so dynamic and explosive. But then you've got Mosaev and Shabli, both of them dynamic and explosive. All of them. Then you got the dark horse in Mansour Barnaoui. I mean, former champion Brent Primus. Anyone can win this. But if I got to give you a favorite, it's the one with the confidence, and I think the most confidence, and that to me is Usman Nurmagomedov.
We get to see him fight tonight against Vincent Henderson. That is our main event. But I want to talk about our co-main event when it comes to Tofik Musayev going up against Alexander Shabli. Josh, let's start with Musayev there. Look, he already won a Grand Prix at Rizin, said he was hungry to do it again. 20 wins, 14 of those ended in the first round. How quickly could he get out Shabli in this one?
I can't say how quickly it's going to end because none of us know. But I know that he's explosive, he's dynamic, he's going to come out and be very aggressive. But when I look at him in terms of fighting, and we talked to him this week, he's got a chip on his shoulder because he feels like he should be where Benson Henderson is. And when he fought Sidney Outlaw, he came in thinking that the winner of that fight, if he finished Sidney Outlaw the way that he did, and so fast, that he would be next in line for a title shot. And we talked to him this week. What did he say? I should be fighting for that title. And he's got that chip on his shoulder, and he has a lot to prove tonight. He doesn't want to be sitting cage side tonight watching somebody else fight for his title, he believes.
Yeah, you asked him that, and he looked at you, and he said, you know what it's like. You were a fighter. You'd be ticked off, too. Bringing that anger in, though, he does have to keep his emotions in check.
That happened to me several times. I know exactly what he's going through.
We'll talk about that later on. Look, let's talk about Alexander Shabli. You've sparred with him. He's on a 3-fight win streak here. He told us, I think I'm more dangerous. He said, I'm more cold-blooded. Where is he more dangerous than Musayev?
What he means by cold-blooded, he's like a stoic assassin. He just kind of walks you down. He lets you put yourself out of position. When he fought Alfie Davis, who is just phenomenal on the feet, he just picked him apart. He did everything he needed to do in that fight. And then Bobby King, he just systematically dismantled him on the feet, in the wrestling. He took whatever Bobby gave him and took him apart. And the thing when I sparred with him, I realized he doesn't really like to wrestle, but he'll take it when it's there, and he takes it when it's easy. He doesn't expend a lot of energy. But when he fought the former champion in Brent Primus, he literally just destroyed him in every way. It took him a second to figure him out with the leg kicks, but when he started touching him and he realized that Brent Primus was leaving himself out of position, he finished that fight, and he finished it quick.
Both of these guys have destroyed so many people in their path, and they look to destroy one another tonight. That is coming up later. More prelim action, though, after this. Hey, Bellator Nation, follow us across a large array of digital platforms and stay up to date on everything you need to know. Like us on the Bellator Facebook page and see exclusive videos. Follow us and get instant updates on Twitter at Bellator MMA and get a chance to have your tweet live on the broadcast. See amazing pictures on Instagram at Bellator MMA. Join Bellator Nation today. The new Bellator MMA app is here. New look, new features, new fights. Watch live weigh-ins and prelims. Share your fight picks. Earn points and badges as you rank up to the heavyweight division. And stay up to date on events, rankings, and news. For all the latest features, download the new Bellator MMA app. Available on the App Store and Google Play.
They're coming for the belt, and they're coming for the bag.
They're all about knocking each other out of the tournament.
Yes, I'm on a mission.
The $1 million Bellator Lightweight Grand Prix begins with a monster match. Undefeated 24-year-old champ Usman Nurmagomedov makes his first title defense against 30-win veteran Benson Henderson.
I'm a certified winner.
Bellator MMA, tonight on Showtime.
Back here at the Shark Tank in San Jose, California, we are set for light heavyweight action. The number 5 ranked Julius Anglikskas takes on Dovalit Yagshimuradov.
And now ready to make his way to the cage, Dovalit Yagshimuradov.
The pride and joy of Turkmenistan, paying homage to his roots. Dovalit Yagshimuradov looking to move to the 500 mark in his Bellator tenure. 1-2 with 1 TKO victory. He's also been stopped with strikes, and so he's coming off a win, his first victory in Bellator against former Bellator middleweight champion Rafael Carvalho. But when you look at the losses, John, they were against the deeper end of the talent pool in Carl Albrechtsen and Corey Anderson.
Yeah, I mean, he came into Bellator. He was in the light heavyweight World Grand Prix, and his first opponent was Corey Anderson. Not an easy thing, and I'm telling you that I refereed Yagshimuradov when in Russia. And back then, I realized super fast, incredible spinning attacks, and he's got a lot of power. So he is a really good fighter. He's just gone up against guys. The Albrechtsen fight was back and forth. It was so close. This fight, he took over and he showed exactly what he can do. Take a look at the elbows. He's got a very heavy ground and pound. He is a good but undersized light heavyweight.
Married father of 3. This month marks his 10-year anniversary as a professional mixed martial artist.
And now to make his way, Julius Anglikskas.
31-year-old Julius Anglikskas has vied for the Bellator light heavyweight title, losing to Vadim Nemkov at Bellator 268 back in October of 2021 via 4th round to Kimura. And, well, things did not get any better for him in his next fight against a former Bellator 205 champion, Phil Davis. So he's trying to snap the first 2-fight losing streak of his career.
Yeah, look, he's had an incredible start to his Bellator career, and then he faced Vadim, taking the place of Anthony Rumble Johnson, rest in peace, in that light heavyweight World Grand Prix. Didn't get the job done, almost had Nemkov out, hurt him in the first round. But you take a look at this man, and this is where I'm talking about Yagshimuradov being a little undersized. And Anglikskas is huge as a light heavyweight.
And he told us that his movement and technical striking will be on full display against Yagshimuradov here tonight. John, take us through the numbers for this light heavyweight confrontation.
And really, I'm taking a look at this as far as the height, because 6'3" for Anglikskas. He is a good wrestler, but Yagshimuradov does have good takedowns, and being at 5'11", dropping levels is going to be a little bit easier for him. We'll see if that gets it done.
With the official introductions, here's Michael C. Williams.
We welcome all those tonight joining us across the UK live on BBC iPlayer as we get set here at Bellator 292 to move to 3 5-minute rounds in the light heavyweight division. Introducing the blue corner at 5'11", weighing in 205.8 pounds. His professional record, 19 wins, 7 losses, 1 draw. Fighting out of Turkmenistan, presenting Dovalit Yagshimuradov. And across the cage, his adversary out of the red corner. At 6'3", weighing in 205.8 pounds, the former light heavyweight title challenger as a professional enters with 10 wins, 3 defeats by way of Lithuania. He fights out of St. Louis, Missouri, Julius Anglicka. And the referee in charge, Jonathan Romero.
Set for this light heavyweight matchup, Bellator 292 prelims, Julius Anglicka with 3 first-round finishes, 2 knockouts and a submission. Conversely, Doublet Yakshimuradov with 10 first-round finishes, 8 knockouts and 2 submissions. And immediately they touch gloves and now will look to touch each other in more violent fashion. Early calf kick to the outside of the lead leg by Yakshimuradov.
You're going to see a lot of variety of kicks from Yakshimuradov. He loves the spinning attacks. He'll go after Anglicka on all levels.
Second punishing calf kick to the lead leg of Anglicka early by Yakshimuradov.
You can already see the mark on that leg based upon it. You can only eat so many of those before they'll have a major effect. Logan Storley in the last fight against Amazov. Right away, that low calf kick made a difference in that fight.
Anglicka landed one of his own, but there's the third one by Yakshimuradov. Good counter right hand upstairs by Anglicka.
Yeah, if you're gonna eat that, you've got to make them pay.
And Yakshimuradov trying to take some steam off of those shots from the longer, lankier Anglicka, and there was an overhand right that just missed for Yakshimuradov. Almost fainting with the jab, looking to change levels, threatening, maybe trying to get him to bite, John.
Yeah, you'll see Yakshimuradov he's got a very in and out, bouncy attack, and he loves to throw a looping right hand over the top, and he'll always be bringing his head off to the left when he does that. So we'll see if Anglicka can read that and set him up for a counter.
It's a cavalcade of calf kicks for Yakshimuradov. Early lands a stiff 1-2 through the guard of Anglicka. Yakshimuradov, who Dan Lambert at American Top Team, spinning back fist by Yakshimuradov. He told us we haven't seen the best of Yakshimuradov yet. Hey, John, early signs are we could be seeing the best of Yakshimuradov here tonight.
Well, you can see that right now he's comfortable. He's having fun. He's out there just letting the fight flow, and he's making things happen. He's just not waiting and letting Anglicka determine when those engagements occur.
And Anglicka moving forward, light on his feet, high guard, wants to use the long limbs, trying to find a way to navigate his way inside. Number 5 ranked light heavyweight, another 1-2 to the face by Yakshimuradov, John. He's finding the timing now.
And that left hand stung him. You can see him take the step back and got stung again.
Textbook 1-2 splitting the guard of Anglicka. The timing, the rhythm, all Yakshimuradov.
Yeah, the accuracy right now, he's on point.
Yep, surgical precision midway through the opening round.
One of the things to notice, look at Anglicka. He's giving some motion with his head and everything, but he's got to use his feet to move.
Linear.
Exactly.
Right.
Stop the linear attack, start getting lateral movement to cut angles.
What about the speed we're seeing out of the hands of Yakshimuradov? A beautifully delivered 3-punch combination with nothing but confidence and precision.
And this is what's giving right now Julius Anglicka's problems, is the speed of those shots. Take a look, 20 of 32 by Yakshimuradov at 63%. Fantastic.
Unbelievable, and the numbers don't always tell the story, but
no, they do in this
they
right
do
now.
Definitely at this juncture of the fight, as Anglicka moving forward again, unable to get on track as Yakshimuradov effective in the counter and goes again, John. Repeated attacks to that lead leg, which are only going to pay dividends as this fight unfolds.
It's putting money in the bank, and it's going to make it where Julius doesn't have that base to really launch heavy blows.
There's a naked entry by Yakshimuradov, shucked off by Anglicka.
And Julius decides to go to that wrestling attack. The damage on that leg is going to slow that shot down.
Lead left hook by Yakshimuradov. Oh! Right uppercut, checking the job. Anglicka's. Hey, Anglicka's wore it well. That jab popped his head back, but what a thudding uppercut by Yakshimuradov. Shades of Goichi Yamauchi against Naaman Gracie in his last fight. And in many ways, you know, Yakshimuradov looking to build his momentum. momentum. And by the way, Yamauchi will take on Michael Venom Page in what is a mouth-watering matchup to kick off the main card on Showtime at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific.
Fantastic. Beautiful spinning attack, wheel kick.
He's having fun, John, at the expense of Julius Anglikskas. 30 seconds left in the opening round.
And notice right now you saw, beautiful.
Amplitude takedown by Dovlet Yagshimuradov. He just punctuated this round with a explosive exclamation point.
That's what we call amplitude. Elevating that man and bringing him down with power. That does not feel good when you hit the ground.
Hey, Dan Lambert's not a liar, that's for sure.
Never has been.
Все, опускай. 3 раза. Какой молодец. Мне нравится. Все. Слушаешь, все.
As you said, Moro, Yagshimuradov is having fun out there. There's that right hand that landed. Now, it didn't have a ton of steam on it, but then he came right back after, and this was the takedown. You see, picks him up and brings him down. Would have been nicer if he brought his weight down on top with him, but you can't have everything. That was a great round for Dovlet Yagshimuradov.
Я буду говорить, слушаешь, понял, все хорошо, только собрано, всякую херню не...
When I mentioned that movement and technical striking were going to be on full display, those words were credited to Julius Anglikskas. It's been the opposite thus far in this fight.
Yeah, well, you're seeing, I'm seeing movement of the shoulders and head by Julius, but it's a linear attack. He's coming straight at Dovlet Yagshimuradov, and he's got to use angles. He's got to create that angle that takes the power away from Yagshimuradov and puts him in a position to land his shot.
Anglikskas wrestled 2 years at Brockport, NCAA Division III. Might want to try to attempt to do something to mute the attack of Yagshimuradov, who's been dynamic with some spinning attacks, has been surgically precise and very effective with the counterattack.
No doubt about it. This is the best we've ever seen him.
Amen. And for Anglikskas, adjustments he needs to make in this second stanza, John.
Like I said, he's really got to use his footwork. Set yourself up just like that. You saw the angle he created as Yagshimuradov stepped off. He stepped forward. That gave him the opportunity to land that right hand.
More aggressive Anglikskas.
Use your feet, use your legs.
You can hear on Glicks's corner saying, use your feet, use your legs. That's what's going to get you in place. It's not the leaning of your body.
Representing St. Charles MMA out of St. Charles, Missouri by way of Lithuania, head coaches Mike Rogers and Glickskas moving forward. And a better start for the Lithuanian fighter against the Wolfhound from Turkmenistan. Oh, nice counter there by Yagshimuradov.
Much better start by Glickskas here. He's doing it, and you see he's bringing the kicks in.
Dutch combination.
And all that backwards movement, that can wear Yagshimuradov off. So at the end of the first round, we saw Yagshimuradov going forward. He needs to start to do that again.
And you wonder the pace that Yagshimuradov fought in that first round, if it didn't tax the tank a bit, because Anglikskas becoming a little more accurate in finding the mark, and Yagshimuradov not as fluid.
A little bit more flat-footed. Not quite up on his toes the same way.
He's smiling because it hurt.
And there it's Anglikskas now chopping down the lead leg of Yagshimuradov with those low kicks, and Yagshimuradov going to the uppercut well again.
Just missed that uppercut.
Oh, and telegraphing a spinning attack.
Anglikskas doing a very nice job of now incorporating the kicks to the leg here.
Sharp jab, a confident jab from Yagshimuradov, and continues to target and score as Anglikskas and John McCarthy's talked about. A nice kick that was checked by Yagshimuradov. Anglikskas goes back straight.
Yes, and you've got to be circling out of that. Oh,
that's
nice
how what happens.
You cannot go back fast enough. They're going to only put you in a bad position against the cage. You got to circle out of that.
Anglikskas with a much better job offensively, but yet Yagshimuradov continues to pop the jab. Our featherweight champion Chris Cyborg making sure Cyborg Nation knows about that loaded lightweight World Grand Prix that begins tonight. with 2 quarterfinal matchups on the main card of Bellator 292, including Usman Nurmagomedov, the newly crowned champion, defending against one of the most decorated fighters in lightweight history, Henderson. But right now, Anglixkis turning the tables in the second round.
Yeah, right now, Anglixkis is ahead in this, but you're starting to see Yagshimuradov land some shots. It's starting to turn just a little bit.
And yet Anglixkis also discovering the use of his jab, looking to take advantage of the reach. But you're right, now in the minute and a half remaining in the round, there Yagshimuradov again, right uppercut, good counter by Anglixkis with the straight right.
I'd love to see Yagshimuradov go to the body because you're seeing the hands come up really high. By Anglixkis, the body's open, both kicks and punches.
Terrific light heavyweight scrap. John, when you and I discussed this fight, we agreed that it would be entertaining, competitive. Yagshimuradov looking to crash the top 10 rankings, while Anglixkis at number 5 would love to find a way to challenge for the title and make it a successful challenge the second time around.
Yeah, you're taking a look, and there's that top spacing. So many good ones. Corey Henderson, Phil Davis, guys that are just at the top of the food chain. He's got to get past those guys if he wins this fight. But this right now is a very close matchup.
And Anglixkis stops the takedown. The one area, Yagshimuradov, naked entries with a takedown.
Absolutely. He's not setting him up, not using his hands to set the takedown up.
Again,
naked entry, exactly. Just what you're talking about, but he gets it.
Deposited Anglixkis onto the canvas with only 10 seconds now left in the second.
This elbow.
Hammer fist, ground and pound. So Yagshimuradov coming on at the end of the round.
Послушай меня.
Все, он не может ничего. Тебе просто надо. Вот дай.
Третий раунд.
Еще один раунд тебе нужно. Вот дай. Просто.
Here comes Yagshimuradov with a hook kick. It does land. It didn't have the power that you want to have it. Here's where he took that shot. It was a naked entry, but he got that single leg, takes Anglixkis to the ground, and he does some good work with the last 10 seconds of the round, landing some good elbows and then some ground and pound with the punches. Nice hammer fist right there.
Julius Anglixkis looking to snap a 2-fight losing streak. Well, Yagshimuradov would love to make it 2 in a row. Third and final round. And Big John McCarthy, how does your unofficial scorecard read heading into what I believe is a pivotal frame?
I think this is a pivotal frame. You take a look, and that was a nice ending by Yagshimuradov, but I think Anglixkis did enough in landing some of those kicks and the punches in the round. Both guys need to go after it in this third round.
And it's the jab, the steady diet of jabs. Oh, a solid lead right hand that tagged the beard of Yagshimuradov from Anglixkis. The footwork on display.
Sneaky little right hand over the top.
Oh, nice left hook to the body by Yagshimuradov, and then the jab upstairs by
where he needs to go. When you're seeing Anglixkis put those hands up so high, the body's open, go for it.
Their takedown techniques, both not at the level they wanted to be there. Even Anglixkis just, again, telegraphing it from long distance, not setting it up.
Basically trying to overrun Yagshimuradov with that takedown attempt.
And the jab of Yagshimuradov now coming from the hip. Has to be careful of the counter, and of course, Anglixkis' corner calling for that counter.
Slick little uppercut there, almost connected.
Walking into his power. Get ready to circle. Very good. All that kick up.
And Yagshimuradov's corner.
Yagshimuradov
Telling him not to circle the way into the power alley. Exactly. Of course, which he's not doing.
Yagshimuradov needs to just start to live off of that jab. Anglickis, based upon where his hand's at, doesn't see the jab coming up. And it doesn't have to hit with power. That's Artem Levin in the corner there. That is a kickboxing masterpiece of a fighter. He's the coach of Nurmagomedov now. And man, you talk about one of the best to ever do it in kickboxing.
Had the pleasure of calling many of his kickboxing fights, and you're right about that. And again, always mention another Bellator alum, Joe Schilling. He and Artem Levin had a great fight in Los Angeles, and Nurmagomedov building on that jab, but it's a single shot, John, not following up anymore.
You're right. He does need to. At times, you got to throw those combinations. Make him react to it. Throw your right hand. Throw the hook to the body. It's got to be more than the one. There comes
there again, the combination of that stiff jab, right uppercut. Now midway point of the third. Overhand right lands for Nurmagomedov. When do you want? There you on cue. I was just going to say, where do you want to see the sense of urgency?
Oh, nice combination right there, and that landed clean. Nurmagomedov looking good right now.
And Anglickis has to get on track. He has to put that proverbial pedal to the metal. Just over 2 minutes left in the fight. Now the Dutch triple jab from Anglickis gets countered with the right hand from Nurmagomedov, who resets.
And it's the same thing for Anglickis. He's doing a good job of marching him down, but you've got to throw more than just that single jab. You've got to throw combinations.
And it's 2-1 in terms of total strikes landed for Nurmagomedov, a 2-1 clip. Just being that much busier, that much more effective, that much more diverse.
Let's go, there we go. Push through it, push through it. Come on, 3-2 hard.
Watch that uppercut hook. 3-2 hard. Oh, little showmanship from Nurmagomedov, popping off the jab. And again, that takedown, looking for the single.
He's got this.
And had another takedown scored here.
And he has some time. Take a look at the time right now. Over a minute left in this round. And Nurmagomedov has shown that he was able to do good work on the ground.
And Nurmagomedov has now secured a takedown in each round. He's 3 for 6. And in the final minute, hoping to make the most of this dominant position.
Yeah, Anglickis needs to really get himself back to his feet or look for the reversal here, because he has not done well as far as stopping the ground and pound attack.
A cut now on the face of
beautiful elbow.
Julius Anglickis. Half minute remaining in the fight. Slashing elbow strikes from in close by Nurmagomedov, doing the desired damage. 20 seconds left in the fight. Is Julius Anglickis headed for a career-high 3-fight losing streak?
I would tell you yes.
Nurmagomedov hoping to go to 2-2 in Bellator, and from this vantage point, the crowd here in attendance and our unofficial scorer, Big John McCarthy, agree that Nurmagomedov did enough to pull out the win.
To me, that was a beautiful performance by Nurmagomedov. Yes, that second round, I thought Anglickis came in, but look at this third round action. Look at what happens. Started going to the body and started to open up. Look at the uppercut come, touches that chin a little bit, not clean. Left hand, right hand, but he was throwing the combinations and then the takedown with over a minute left in the round. When he landed this fight basically was in his control, and there was a beautiful elbow he landed right here.
Oh.
That's the one that cut Anglickis right at the eye.
That elbow opened up Anglickis like a double click as Dovalit Wolfhound Nurmagomedov with a well-balanced attack, and yeah, that's a nasty gash under the right eye of Julius Anglickis that's being tended to. The vestiges of battle. And it was a tough one tonight. According to Bellator MMA stats, Nurmagomedov landed 105 of 187 strikes, while Anglickis just 47 out of 140. And let's take a look at another angle of the H-E-L-L-B-O-W. That elbow just adding insult to injury here, opening up Julius Anglickis. And it'll be up to the 3 judges assigned by the California State Athletic Commission, one of which is former MMA fighter Chris Lieben, who he gave this sport everything he had inside the cage and now giving back as an official with the California State Athletic Commission, one of the judges assigned to this light heavyweight matchup. And we will find out what Mr. Lieben and the other judges thought about this fight. Let's go to Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 non-stop rounds of action, we go to your judges at cage side. Derek Cleary, Wade Vieira, Chris Lieben. I'll have it exactly the same at 30-27. All for the winner by unanimous decision.
The founder of American Top Team, Dan Lambert, said Yakshimuradov is someone who is explosive with a lot of power. We had not seen the best of him. Well, the Turkmenistan terror, he gave Julius Anglikskas his best, and it was enough to pick up an important win. Let's go to Big John McCarthy.
I'm here with your winner, Dovlet Yakshimuradov. That was a beautiful performance. Your stand-up was clean. You hit the leg kicks, the beautiful uppercuts. How's he feeling?
Отлично выступили, у вас хорошая комбинация была, удары ногой, рукой. Как вы себя чувствуете?
Себя чувствую хорошо. I am good feel. Hard fight. Maybe good opponent fight, normal rating. Thank you, my coach. Thank you, Artyom, my brother Moussar. My big coach, Mike Brown, Steve Moka, wrestling coach. American Top Team, Dan Lambert, Richie Prima. Thank you. Good team.
Your wrestling was one of the things that separated you in this fight. You landed some clean shots, but every time you took him down, and sometimes you took him down with what we call amplitude. You brought him up and brought him down hard. How good is your wrestling been since you started training with guys like Steve Moko?
У вас хороший рестлинг был, помимо этого еще подняли его, завалили, то есть вообще очень замечательно. Вообще вы чувствуете, что у вас борьба улучшается со временем?
Yes, of course. Первых-вторых боях я просто не так уж и сильно готовился, но в этот бой я именно подготовился хорошо. Аж 70 дней в American Top Team усиленная работа. По борьбе, конечно же, тренера мои лучшие, Стив Мока, все время Макраунд. Мы все тактики ставили на 3 раунда вот так. Работать, забарывать, забивать и доминировать как бы, да, движение. Потому что мы видели соперника, что он как бы ударник хороший, но базовый рестлер. Ну, пришлось кинуть себе вызов и с борцом побороться и ударки тоже.
Yeah, the first 2 fights maybe I didn't prepare as much, but this time with American Top Team I spent like good 70 days. There was great work with training on wrestling. We knew that he's a great striker, so obviously wrestling was going to be a part of it, and I think overall it played out pretty well.
Well, 2 wins in a row. Congratulations on a fantastic performance. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Dovlet Yakshimuradov.
American Top Team continues to have an embarrassment of riches. The best performance for Dovlet Yakshimuradov since he came to Bellator MMA, now 2-2, wanting to crash the top 10 rankings. Hey, he just took out the number 5 ranked Julius Anglikskas, and with Vadim Nemkov expected to defend against Yoel Romero, Yakshimuradov wanting to make it known that he is a rising player in the 205-pound weight division. Let's go back to Amanda.
Mauro, thank you so much. Incredible prelims so far. We do want to mention this April, Showtime Sports premieres a must-see investigative series with exclusive new evidence and interviews detailing one of the largest heists in history and the MMA mastermind behind it.
He wanted to be a world champion in the UFC.
He was going to be a big superstar.
He earned that name like Lee Murray.
Wanted out, throw a punch.
He just happens to be involved in the largest cash robbery in the world.
The robbery, yeah.
He's definitely not sane.
This story was an absolute belter. There's no 2 ways about it. Heists, huge amounts of money, armed gang, disguises, kidnapping.
This is the sort of thing you see in Hollywood films.
We'd never seen that for real in a robbery.
Yeah, how much are they nicked? About £1 million?
Tens of millions.
20. But in fact, it was £52,990,760. $92.2 million. How much would they have got away with? They turn up with a bigger lorry. The policeman, shorty, hoodie, Mr. Average, high-vis, driver, and stopwatch.
This theft represented the largest amount ever stolen. It's almost unbelievable.
It's the equivalent of Fort Knox that had been breached.
Whoa, that's insane.
Lee was told not to talk about this at all.
A fiendishly clever plan, which, up to the moment they drove away, had worked flawlessly.
Mark it on your calendar, April 7th. Josh, you know him. What do you think about that?
It's wild, it's crazy, but it's true. And like, he was somebody, I've been in the UK for several fights, and he was wild, man. He lived the life the way that you're seeing right there. That's the way he was. He was a fighter at heart, but he was also a bank robber. And I can't wait to actually see this. I cannot wait to see this.
It's going to be very entertaining. What else is entertaining, Joshua? Heavyweights. We love them. I love heavyweight fights here. Let's talk about the one we have coming up on our main card tonight. You have number 1, Valentin Moldavsky going up against Linton Vassell. And Josh, the reason this is so entertaining is because it is a rematch of their first fight back in 2019. Moldavsky won that one, but Linton Vassell, it was his first fight at heavyweight in about a decade. Came in at 247, said I was too slow, too flat-footed. He's gotten that weight under control. What can we expect from these two tonight?
Well, what else? What more could we expect? We have number 1 versus number 2. That's what we're looking for. So we're making that run to see who's going to fight Ryan Bader next. And what I'm looking for from Linton Vassell is to see if all that talk and all that preparation about that first fight was about his weight. Well, he's got his weight under control. He showed he's consistent with making his weight and keeping his weight where he wants it to be and performing at a high level. Will he be able to implement his game plan against Moldavsky, who got the win against him the first time?
He went into that first fight about 247. He's at now 238, 239. Hasn't strayed from that 4-0 since, and said, I have wanted this fight back ever since it happened, that it was embarrassing for him. He gets his chance tonight.
I can't wait to hear I can't wait to hear about his grandmother later on.
Okay, Pearl, there's a lot to say about Pearl.
There is a lot.
I don't know if she's watching yet from London, but she will later on Showtime. For now, we'll send it back to you, Mo.
Always count on Josh Thompson for those pearls of wisdom as we get set for this intriguing matchup at 185 pounds. Khalid Murtazaliev, who is 2-1 in Bellator MMA, including a knockout win. He takes on Tony Johnson, who is also 2-1 in Bellator, but all of his victories in the Bellator cage have been via knockout.
And now ready to make his way to the cage, Tony Johnson.
BJM, my worlds collide. Doing the Showtime Championship boxing, doing Bellator MMA. Hey, just like Tony Johnson, this guy took a break from his MMA career, went 8-1 as a professional boxer with 3 knockouts, but the last boxing fight was back in July of 2016. He actually started his pro boxing career in May of 2009. So he's been around, hasn't been active in MMA much. This is his 13th professional fight, but he's known for that knockout power, having won 5 of his last 6, but looking to right the ship after the loss to Dalton Rasta.
You know, he is looking to right the ship. In that fight against Dalton Rasta, he just did not get off. And I think it was because he was afraid of the wrestling that Dalton Rasta possessed. And he was afraid of being taken down and being grounded on. So he was picking his shots. And you got to just let your hands go. And I think that's what you're going to see Tony Johnson do tonight. He's going to let his hands go.
And Tony Johnson, father of 2 daughters. Shout out to Ava and Kendall.
And now, on his way to the cage, Khalid Murtazaliev.
Khalid Murtazaliev has a degree in law, and he looks to bring his home brand of law and order to this matchup. Holds a TKO win over CB Dalloway in his lone UFC fight back in 2018. Coming off a victory the last time he was in the Bellator MMA cage, showcasing some of his power as he recorded the 13th KO of his career.
Boy, he had a beautiful night. And Murtazaliev has good wrestling, but he loves being in the stand-up. This guy likes to throw his hands, very similar like an Usman. Here he is in that fight, and he just systematically broke his opponent, Bestiev, down throughout it. Got the takedowns, ground and pound in the stand-up. There he goes, moving to mount. He just was all over Bestiev in that fight. Too much, and that's what he likes to do. Get to that top position. That's how he beat CB Dalloway down. Gets to that position, look out, you're in trouble.
Murtazaliev now training at Universal Fighters Gym in Dagestan, previously trained at Jackson Wink MMA in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Let's go to the tail of the tape for this matchup at middleweight.
And you're taking a look at it, 77-inch reach for Tony Johnson. He needs to utilize that against Murtazaliev because 72.5, he's got good stand-up skills, but not the stand-up and the hands that Tony Johnson does use that length.
Let's go to the man in the middle, Michael C. Williams.
From here in San Jose, California, Bellator 292, the prelims continue now as we go 3 5-minute rounds in the middleweight division. Introducing the blue corner at 6'2", weighing in 184.8 pounds. His professional record, 8 wins, 4 losses, presenting Tony Johnson. And across the cage, his adversary out of the red corner at 6 foot, weighing in 186 pounds even, as a professional, 16 victories, 3 defeats. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Khalid Murtazaliev. And the referee in charge, Jason Herzog.
Khalid Murtazaliev, 16-3 with 13 knockouts. Tony Johnson, 8-4 with 5 KOs. And they'll be looking to chuck leather early here. The first of 3 rounds at 185 pounds.
And if you're Tony Johnson, you've got to just tell yourself, don't worry about the wrestling. I've got to do what I'm best at. That's the stand-up. I'm going to use my hands. Let me create the angles that I can land shots and do damage to him.
The loss to Rasta snapped Tony Johnson's 4-fight winning streak. Sharp jab that missed for Johnson, rangefinder. And of course, there, you know, we see these athletes wanting to cross over MMA to boxing, the rivalry between the two sports back in the day. 2 completely different sports, and for a variety of reasons. And yet, how does Tony Johnson's boxing background help him in this scenario?
Well, it helps him because he knows how to create the angles. Look at his footwork. Look how he moves. You see that lateral movement right there? He sets himself up. He gives the feint, and then when he throws, it's quick, it's snappy, it's got power on it. He's pushing Murtazaliev back with that power, making him take steps backwards, and he just needs to continue on and just up the volume.
Murtazaliev, respectful of Tony Johnson's striking, but feels he can exploit his lack of wrestling as Johnson throws a kick up high, and Murtazaliev landing a kick south of the border. And that is one way to stop Tony Johnson in his tracks. And that was delivered at high velocity, John.
That was high velocity, and there wasn't a whole lot of movement to make it to where you could say it was based upon Tony basically stopped at it. So it wasn't off of Tony Johnson's movement creating that situation. That was more just a poorly placed and targeted weapon.
You're good? All right, hold on 1 minute. Okay, hey, do not do this again. You understand me? Yeah, do not mess up again. Yep. All right, ready?
It took all of 32 seconds for Tony Johnson to restart, and Jason Herzog, I know he's earned your respect over the years, and talk about the way he handled that situation.
Well, he looked at it that at 32, and this is the difference. Tony Johnson took 32 seconds. What is that telling you, Mauro? Well, maybe it didn't affect you as much as you were kind of,
Thank you.
making some
The Oscars are tomorrow night.
Exactly.
Tony Johnson, perhaps, no, just kidding, never want to take a shot. What a go behind by Murtazaliev, takes the back of Johnson, and this is where Murtazaliev said Johnson would be at his weakest, and this is where Murtazaliev wants to dominate.
And it was what Murtazaliev did when you saw him grab the right arm of Johnson to pull him away from being able to get himself back up. Very nicely done.
Yeah, aggressive attack on the ground.
Still on that arm.
By Khalid Murtazaliev, and Tony Johnson on his back. Midway through the first round, now side control employed by Murtazaliev has Johnson in trouble against the fence.
He also, take a look at that right arm. Look where that right arm is at. It is underneath his body, so Murtazaliev is controlling that arm, keeping it there so he's got an open side to attack.
Just over 2 minutes left here in the first round. Tony Johnson, boxing background, had some success in the stand-up. Murtazaliev biding his time, able to take the fight to the ground, and now controlling Tony Johnson with under 2 minutes left in the round.
Tony was able to get that right arm back. He's looking towards that Kimura grip. He needs to get himself back to at least a guard, get himself towards the cage so you can use that as a balance point to get yourself back to your feet.
Minute and a half now left in the first, and it's now Tony Johnson employing the guard as Murtazaliev with some short strikes. And Johnson trying to land an elbow from his back. Not settling, very active from his back, trying to find a way to turn the tables. Going to be difficult against a guy with the credentials in this position of Khalid Murtazaliev.
Someone who's got the grappling base and the expertise that you're seeing with Murtazaliev. He's just dominant in these because he'll actually let you get back to your feet and then bring you right back down, a la Nurmagomedov, and when Khabib used to do it. It's that Dagestani style.
I was going to say, it's in the Dagestani DNA. Yep. And under now 45 seconds left with Murtazaliev controlling the action on the ground, trying to deliver a knee, but Tony Johnson and the crowd here in San Jose, where he fights out of, showing their appreciation for his heart and his guts to get back to his feet, but Murtazaliev looking to take him back down via mat return.
Yeah, and exactly that's what you're looking at, because at no time did you see Tony Johnson break the hands of Murtazaliev. He is in that position where he's still in that body lock. He's going to use little foot sweeps to try to bring Tony right back down.
Coming up later tonight, the start of the 8-man lightweight world Grand Prix. And Mansour Barnaoui, who will be in action in Paris, France, May 12th, as he begins his journey in the lightweight world Grand Prix, as he will take on former Bellator lightweight champion Brent Premis later tonight. On that same side of the bracket, of course, newly crowned champion Usman Nurmagomedov will defend against Benson Henderson, who hopes to become a Bellator champion in his third crack at a title. That's, of course, coming up later tonight. Also tonight, Tofik Musayev and Alexander Shabliy in an intriguing quarterfinal matchup. But hey, the division right now belongs to the 24-year-old Usman Nurmagomedov, the youngest champion in Bellator's 13-year history. And so we begin the second round. 5 minutes that saw Tony Johnson try to showcase his sweet science, but it was Khalid Murtazaliev who took the fight to the ground and then controlled the action, John.
That is exactly it, and you're going to see the same thing here. Tony's going to be trying to hunt him down with the hands, trying to use the stand-up, and Murtazaliev is going to just wait for his opportunity to try to get into the body, get to the legs of Tony Johnson, put him back onto the canvas.
Tony Johnson, trained by Ron Kessler, their team at American Kickboxing Academy, AKA. Oh, snap kick there by Murtazaliev. Murtazaliev backing up much the same as Julius Anglic's last fight, when you don't want to go back straight anytime, but against the guy with the boxing credentials of Johnson, you're playing with fire.
But the one thing Tony Johnson needs to do here, he's got to up the output.
Yes.
Right now, he's giving feints and every now and then throwing those hands, but you've got to give him something to really have to deal with.
There's a jab that caught Murtazaliev, and footwork on display from Tony Johnson, but yes, needs to ratchet up the offensive attack. According to our stats right now, he's landing just 18%, 8 of 44 for Tony Johnson in the striking department, compared to 26 of 38 for Murtazaliev. And on cue, John.
On cue with that, you see that 8 of 45. The 26, a lot of those were when he was in the ground position, and he was able to land some shots.
There's a shot. Speaking of shots, a different kind of shot.
Beautiful open area. He's got him away from the cage, makes it more difficult for Tony to be able to use that as a balance point to get himself up.
After going 1 for 2 in the takedown department and controlling the majority of the round in this position in the opening round, now Murtazaliev 1 for 1 in this second stanza, and immediately Johnson again looking for that double wrist lock or Kimura grip.
Yeah, it's really not there for him, and he needs to really look at trying to get himself from that half guard, at least get the back on that cage. Nice work by Tony Johnson.
Johnson, 39 years of age, against the 29-year-old Khalid Murtazaliev. Midway point of the round and the fight, John.
Murtazaliev is taking that arm, the right arm, taking the left arm of Tony Johnson, getting it away from him so he cannot post up on it and leverage himself into a point where he can get those legs underneath him. But Murtazaliev has those hands clasped around those legs. Tony's not going to be able to go anywhere right at this moment.
Johnson made his pro MMA debut back in April of 2007 for Strikeforce, when 0-1 lost to Eric Lawson. And of course, 17 years ago today, the very first Strikeforce event was held here at the Shark Tank. Scott Coker, now the president of Bellator MMA, promoting his first event. And Murtazaliev imposing his will and skill on Tony Johnson, has his back, delivers the knee to the gluteus maximus. Always like saying that, John. Cheeky of me, I know.
It is a muscular region. Nice job. There goes that mat return, and that's demoralizing when you're Tony and you're working so hard to get yourself back to your feet, and then all of a sudden now you're back on the ground.
Asking shall receive Scott Coker. On this day 17 years ago, I promoted the first MMA event in California, featured a couple of pretty good lightweights, and we had, of course, not only Nate Diaz in action, but Josh Thompson and Clay Guida for the lightweight title, Gilbert Melendez, pro MMA debut Kung Lee, Frank Shamrock, smashing Cesar Gracie in 21 seconds. It was a monumental event, and here now Murtazaliev still controlling Tony Johnson, but Johnson on his feet, looking to break the grip, unable to do so.
Right again, there goes all that work to get back to your feet, and you're in the same position. That's where it starts to become demoralizing as a fighter. The one thing that as I'm looking at Murtazaliev, he needs to start to at least start to try to do some damage. Pass the guard here, open up, start landing some punches, or go for some type of submission if you can get yourself to the position. Now he's got that wrist. The right wrist of Tony is being controlled. Got it through.
Smothering top control from Khalid Murtazaliev. Johnson trying desperately to find a way to get back in his feet, try to find a way to get back into this fight. We have reached the final 5 minutes of this middleweight contest.
Пусть он встает, разворачивай, ты намного больше сил там тратишь. Сюда.
По времени видишь?
Да.
Back him up, don't stop.
Right? We need a knockout, okay? Put that out as a decoy, but use it to gauge as you're throwing the right hand from too far away, right? Once you get in the range, then let it go. And you keep pushing him back behind that jab, right? You'll get it.
Give it to me straight. You need a knockout. Truer words never spoken. Tony Johnson's corner.
They're right.
And I guess that will foreshadow your unofficial scorecard. How do you have it and why?
There's no doubt right now we've got Murtazaliev up 2 rounds to nothing. Tony Johnson's got to change the momentum of this fight. He's got to do damage with those hands.
And a big reason that he is up on your scorecard is the fact that Murtazaliev 3 for 4 in the takedown department through the first 2 rounds. 1 of 2 in the opening 5 minutes, 2 of 2 in the middle 3.
Well, he's taken away the best skill set of Tony Johnson. That's part of fighting. Is defense is allowed in MMA. It's an amazing thing. And that defense is sometimes taking away the ability of your opponent to use something they've trained really hard to be good at, and they are, but they cannot implement it in the fight when they're on their back.
Jab by Murtazaliev, now resetting the L, utilizing the L for footwork and backing up. Now Johnson becoming a little desperate. You can see it, John, lunging forward. There, takes a kick, although he checked him.
And you can also see he's a little bit tired.
Yep.
The punches are not as crisp. They're not.
And when you're under the pressure of Murtazaliev on the ground, and you're right, you were sapping the strength. And at least Tony Johnson tried to reverse position, but was unable to. Now is just trying to desperately hunt down Murtazaliev. Try to get him in his range where he can try to land that come from behind home run win. Nice body kick by Johnson.
That's a nice right hand by Murtazaliev.
Not good counter. He's trying to give Tony Johnson some look.
Almost landed that uppercut.
And again, finds himself in the familiar position of Murtazaliev, taking him down to the ground, putting him on his back, and now providing him with top pressure. Wash, rinse, repeat for Khalid Murtazaliev. And of course, you want to pick up the win. The most important thing, you want to do it the way that you see fit. And for Murtazaliev, anything you want to see more out of him in terms of what he brings to this fight here tonight and where he is in this position?
You know, you can't complain about anything he's done because it's successful. It's working for him. And so if it's working, why change it? The one thing, if I can add something to it, in these positions, you know what, bring the head up over, posture up, bring more power on those shots. He's going to do just a little bit more to slow Tony Johnson down again.
Murtazaliev has now had Tony Johnson on the mat for over 6 minutes of ground control in this fight, while Tony Johnson has not controlled the fight on the ground for a single second. And now, Murtazaliev transitioning to the back, has one hook in. But against that fence, a little wall and stall from Tony Johnson.
Tony's using it to keep Murtazaliev from getting to his back. It's a nice job. It's smart use of the cage, but he's going to end up being pushed right over. Just like you're seeing. You're seeing the arm being taken away. Now he's right back down.
There's some ground and pound of right hand as Murtazaliev looks to put in the hooks, has the waist lock. Johnson with a back fist, a back elbow to Murtazaliev. 1.5 minutes left in the fight. How much fight left in Tony Johnson, the 39-year-old, coming off a loss back in April of 2021. And in the fight against Dalton Rosta, he did have success getting back to his feet at times and took that away as a bit of a moral victory, but no luck here tonight.
He can use that fence right now, try to walk his way around.
Final minute.
Not able to do it right now.
Side control, knee strikes to the ribcage by Murtazaliev. And Murtazaliev goes right into full mount.
It's a beautiful little slice with the knee through there. Right over the top.
And now has the hooks in and has time left. 38 seconds. Looking for the position here as the arm triangle. Tony Johnson with that phone block needing to call 911. Less than 30 seconds left in the fight. Still enough time for Murtazaliev to get it done.
There's enough time, but he needs to pass that leg. He needs to drop those hips down to the mat. That's going to create more pressure if he's able to do it. He can get it here, but it's going to be tighter if he can come off to the side.
Johnson's first loss was via rear naked choke in his against Eric Lawson at Strikeforce, and now he survives that arm triangle choke attempt, but does not survive the smothering top pressure from Khalid Murtazaliev in this fight, John.
No, you know, sometimes this is just when someone's better than you in an area and they're able to put the fight where they want it to be. This takedown right here by Murtazaliev. Yep, nice job. Look at the trip on the outside there. Beautiful control, and he just simply out-wrestled Tony Johnson, took away his boxing skills. It was a smart fight. It was a well-paced fight for Murtazaliev because he didn't get himself exhausted, but he put out a lot of energy, and overall, just an outstanding performance near the end. Almost got that arm triangle choke to get the finish. Tony Johnson hanging in there tough, does not let it get to that point, and he gets it all the way to the end of the third round.
Murtazaliev looking for his first submission win, unable to get it as we go to the fight stats.
58 strikes landed compared to 32, but it's when you take a look at the ground control, that's everything. You're seeing 831 on one side, 4 takedowns, and nothing but zeros on the other column.
'29-year-old Khalid Murtazaliev cooling himself down after going 15 minutes with Tony Johnson in the middleweight division. Michael C. Williams has the name of the winner about to come out of his mouth.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the decision, we'll go now to your 3 judges at cage side. Brandon Saucedo, Chris Lee, Michael Gingona all have it exactly the same at 30-27. But the winner by unanimous decision, Khalid Murtazaliev.
Khalid Murtazaliev improves to 17-3. And 3-1 here in the Bellator MMA cage as he triumphs over Tony Johnson. And so, as we continue with Bellator 292 prelim coverage, let's go back up to the fight desk, and here is AG and JT.
That's what we like more. We've decided we like those nicknames the best, right? AJ, AG, JT.
AG, JT.
Apparently, I need to learn how to say it, though. Look, we're about an hour away from our main card, and kicking it off, I'm going to be honest, this might be my favorite fight of the night, or the one I'm looking forward to the most. We have Michael Venom Page tied for the most knockouts in Bellator history, going up against Goichi Yamauchi, most submissions in Bellator history. Clash of styles there. Josh, let's start with MVP, knockout artist. Why is there no one really like him?
There's one man out there like him. His name is Raymond Daniels. Just fantastic striker with the speed, similar speed. But MVP is very unique and even also different from Raymond Daniels, is that he doesn't throw a lot of spinning stuff, but he does come in with the speed of a sniper. He just slides right in and he's able to land. He's very accurate with his strikes. He's fantastic.
I love that word you use. He really is like a sniper. Let's talk about Yamauchi. Look, he doesn't really look for the takedowns, even though he has the most submissions in Bellator history. Does he need to look for those takedowns tonight, though?
I don't want to say he needs to force it though, but he does need to look to at least threaten them a little bit. I'm not saying if he goes out there trying to rush after him and tries to force these takedowns, he's going to end up in a lot of trouble. He may end up dipping his head to one side. But like he said, he's not someone that's going to shoot a double leg. He is somebody that makes people feel uncomfortable on the feet because he has a very bladed stance. And what happens is they end up getting too close to him and he gets the easy takedown and ends up hitting the submissions. He is one of the most well-rounded submission fighters I've ever seen because he can do it on the feet and he can get to the back and he can get to the arm bars and he finishes. And then when we talked to him this week, what did he say? I'm going to finish. I'm not going to get takedowns.
Really quickly, he said he has not watched any of Michael Page's fights. Good plan or bad plan?
I refuse. I plead the fifth.
Okay, that's it. Maura, let's go back down to you.
All right, thank you very much as we get set for what was supposed to be a bantamweight matchup but turned into a featherweight matchup after Cass Bell with a major scale fail. 20% of his purse will go to Josh Hill, the gentleman and the mean green fighting machine, about to get it on here at Bellator 292.
And now set to make his way to the cage, gentlemen, Josh Hill.
Fellow Canadian gentleman, Josh Hill, 36 years of age. I've been covering his career, calling his fights from when he started back in his native Canada. And he will never stop believing that he is one of the best bantamweights in the sport, but has hit that proverbial ceiling here in Bellator MMA where he's just 3-2, but coming off a loss to Marcos Breno. But here tonight against a guy with a lot less experience, Josh Hill called Cass Bell out saying, hey, you were 5-0 at the time. Let's get it on. Here's a chance you're in the ratings. Let's do this. Cass Bell took umbrage with that fact, saying, why would you call out a guy with so less experience? But how's Cass Bell paying back? Comes in overweight. What?
Way overweight. I mean, a full weight class. Let's just be honest. If you look at this, it's one of those where you say, hey, if you can't make the weight, then don't sign the contract. Yep. You are supposed to be a professional. You're supposed to come in here and make weight, fight hard. If you're not making weight, and especially by 8.5 pounds, there's something wrong.
Speaking of professional, gentleman named after gentleman Jerry Valiant, his late uncle who, hey, I started my career at All-Star Wrestling in Vancouver at 16. His uncle used to scare the crap out of me when he fought under the mask as Mr. X.
And now we welcome his opponent, Cass, the mean green fighting machine, Bell.
Don't want to make the lightest situation, but I'm going to. It's in the name. Cass Bell didn't miss the dinner bell for this camp, obviously, John. And again, I have nothing but respect for what Cass Bell has done in his career, what he's done for the youth. In wrestling, a longtime wrestling coach. In fact, tomorrow, win or lose, he's going to be driving to support his sister. And yet, John, he comes in a full weight class above. How do you explain this? And is there any credible reason for it?
There is no way to explain it because you can't do it. And it's only because of Josh Hill saying, all right, I'll take the fight in the featherweight division, and him weighing in at 136.6, which is 0.6 pounds, putting him into that featherweight division. This is something, you know, you look at. I love Cass Bell as a fighter. He's fun, but you cannot do it. And I'm going to put it on the highlights for this match, tail of the tape. 145.2 for Cass Bell. That is just making, that is not even championship weight for the featherweight division. You got to come in at 145.0 and 136.6. Josh Hill told me, he goes, you know what? He came in 10 pounds overweight because I'm going to take his money and I'm going to take his soul.
Here is Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight here at the Bellator 292 prelims, we'll go 3 5-minute rounds to what is now the featherweight division. Introducing the blue corner first at 5'6", weighing in 136.6 pounds as a professional. 21 wins, 5 defeats out of Fonthill, Ontario, Canada. Gentlemen, Josh Hill. And across the cage, his adversary fighting out of the red corner at 5'10", weighing in 145.2 pounds. His professional record, 6 victories, 2 losses out of Humboldt County, California. The mean green fighting machine, and your referee in charge, Ed Calantes.
Well, one thing's for sure, the crowd here in the Shark Tank definitely support Caspel and Wynot. He's proven to be a very popular local fighter, always gives it all. Coming off a major upset win over Jared Scoggins, the common opponent who gentleman Josh Hill defeated. Well, the last time he won back at Bellator 272 in December of 2021. So here we go, Bell, and round 1. Caspel fighting out of the southpaw stance. Josh Hill now spends time with Team Alpha Male in Sacramento under Hall of Famer Uriah Faber et al. A factory for the lighter weight class. And of course, Uriah Faber put that lighter weight classes on the map.
Absolutely, Uriah Faber was just, featherweight, went to bantamweight, but just an unbelievable, fighter as far as everything he brought. He brought excitement, he brought enthusiasm, he brought entertainment. That's what you got to do as a fighter.
He brought those Von Erich looks. On the pro wrestling.
Yes, he was.
By the way, have you seen
one that I actually knew?
Yeah, I was going to say
the masked X-Man.
Mr. X. Guy Mitchell, who again, former tag team champion of my old employer. A minute now gone here in the first round, and for Caspel, who has that flair, has the colored hair, and trying now to atone for missing weight and making amends, and yet you wonder what, coming in like this, he wins the fight. How much credit there do you give him? I mean, Josh Hill did agree to fight, so they're fighting.
Absolutely, but you can take a look at the size difference here. Based upon,
but it was always going to be big, right? With Josh Hill being the height he is at 5'6", and Caspel being, what is it? 5'10"?
5'10", yeah. But when you're in that position, if you're Caspel, and as you get older, it becomes more difficult to lose that weight, and it comes a point you might have to just move up in weight class.
There's a counter right hand by Hill as Bell came in with the double jab. Hill switches to southpaw. Hill fighting out of Fonthill, Ontario, runs his own gym, Vision Quest MMA. He's a 13-year pro as he absorbs that kick. Oh, there's a high kick blocked by Hill from Caspel, and Bell now looking to diversify his attack.
That was actually a very nice job of bringing his arm up to be his defense. It does not feel good when it lands, but it's a good defense to keep it off of your jawline.
Ask Frank Shamrock, who fought Kung Lee in one of the most electric atmospheres in this building, whose arm was broken.
Yeah, Frank's forearm was broken. That was where you saw Josh Hill actually bring his upper arm up and catch it underneath.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel good to do, but it's effective.
Oh, and there's the block with his arm that again doesn't feel good. That left head kick from Caspel from the southpaw stance. And again, a very tentative, cautious start here, and something that maybe has dogged Josh Hill. The fact that there is some conservative aspects of the fight game where you would like to see him be more aggressive and utilize the experience and the skills.
Absolutely, because this is where, in this position, he's the guy with all the experience.
Oh my gosh.
Caspel is far behind in the experience. Now they're close in age. It's not like there's a huge chasm there. But Josh Hill's been up against some of the very best guys like Marlon Moraes. He's been in the cage with killers. Cass has not had that same experience. So this is where you want to make the guy make mistakes, and Josh needs to force him into those mistakes.
Minute and a half remaining in the opening round. This is Josh Hill's 27th pro fight. Caspel's 9th pro fight. Brent Primus, former lightweight champion. He is in the lightweight Grand Prix, and he will be watching tonight as the tournament kicks off. 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific on Showtime, and he will meet Mansour Barnoui May 12 in Paris, France.
And this is where Josh Hill is very good as far as his positioning against the cage. He likes to use that cage, throw elbows up, Cass being very smart and pushing him back off of it. Cass has got good wrestling.
Yes, he does. Wrestling since the 7th grade.
Beautiful knee tap.
Wrestling for 10 years, but on the receiving end of a good wrestling move by Josh Hill.
It was a beautiful knee tap by Josh Hill.
And here's an aggressive Josh Hill, an equally aggressive Cass Bell from his back. But the leverage favors Hill.
Look, Josh Hill's winning those exchanges right there. Cass has nowhere to move his head other than side to side. Cannot move it back in any fashion. When a shot lands, it's heavy.
So Josh Hill securing the first takedown of the fight may prove to be the difference here as we head to the second round of this featherweight contest. And so I ask you, John, how much of a factor did that takedown and subsequent action on the round play on your unofficial scorecard?
Well, it plays some bit because you take a look when he went down there, he got really busy and he started trying to land shots. Now, some of them missed, but that was what opened up the attack of the fight overall. Cass Bell had his couple moments in the stand-up, not many. Josh landed probably the better shots overall, but that takedown was a big difference maker, and yeah, that gets him the round.
So the talk of Bellator MMA is the Lightweight World Grand Prix. The Azerbaijan assassin, number 2 ranked Tofik Musayev, who's already won a Grand Prix for Rizin Fighting Federation in Japan. Tonight, he takes on Alexander Shabli after making a memorable statement in his Bellator MMA debut, starching Sidney Outlaw in 27 seconds. Tofik Musayev, Alexander Shabli begins the Lightweight World Grand Prix in the first of our 2 quarterfinal matchups coming up later tonight, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific on Showtime. And this is round number 2. Josh Hill, Cass Bell, no ill feelings. They touch gloves. Biggest takeaways from the opening round and how each fighter can build on what happened in a positive fashion for them in the first 5, John.
Well, the biggest takeaway, if you're looking at Josh Hill, you need to go back to getting into that clinch situation and use your skills to get it back to the ground, because that's where you did your best work. If you're Cass Bell, what you've got to look at is you're waiting. You're so unsure right now of what to do. You're not throwing any offense out. That flicking, jab and everything is not going to be it. You've got to initiate. You've got to create these situations for the engagement to be in your favor. This is your moment. If you can use this as a wrestling takedown to get him on the ground and be in the top position, great. But got to open up more.
By Hill defending. There's a knee to the breadbasket by Hill, and Bell responds with a knee in kind, backs Hill to the fence. Many battles taking place here, both with good wrestling backgrounds. Turning the tables is Josh Hill pinning Bell to the fence now, creating some distance to maybe land a knee. There it is.
That was a very nice job of turning that. You see Josh Hill at times using his head basically as a third arm to push Cass Bell back where he wants him to be. And all this looks not real exciting. Man, this is what we call the grind. This is tough because you're pushing against another person's body weight.
And what do you got to do to be successful? You got to embrace the grind.
Embrace the grind.
Just over 3 minutes left here in the second, and they are grinding it out here at close quarters. Small knee strikes being exchanged. There's another one from Hill, and Hill going to the leg with the knee strike.
Well, you're seeing Hill with the underhook. You're seeing Cass Bell try to go 2-on-1 with the hands.
And Hill forces the break, resets. Bell fighting out of the southpaw stance, nearing the midway point of the round and the fight. Inside low kick for Hill on the lead leg of Bell. Of course, Bantamweight World Grand Prix comes to what should be a thrilling conclusion in Hawaii, April 22. Rafion Stotts versus Patchy Mix for the $1 million bonus check. And the chance to, well, challenge for the bantamweight belt. Oh, body kicks from Bell.
Very nice kick to the body by Bell. That hurt.
Collar tied by Bell, sneaks in a left uppercut on the inside.
There were 2 kicks to the body of Josh Hill there. Cass Bell doing a nice job of repeating that. He saw the effects of the first one, went right back at it.
Not a lot of offense on display. Mid 90 seconds left in the second. Both have been credited with landing 11 knee strikes. And there's been a lot of that display of offense at close quarters, and there they go, both of them throwing knees. But not able to really force a break or put themselves in a dominant position. But there's a level change by Hill, but now his neck is snatched by Bell. And Hill has never been submitted. He's been knocked out once. Cass Bell has 3 of his 6 wins via submission.
Cass Bell doing a nice job using his head to push Josh Hill's head over towards his left. Weakens him up. Nice knee inside by Josh Hill.
And one by Cass Bell. And another one by Bell, and another one by Hill. It's been...
Well, if you can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, as nasty as you want to be here in San Jose, California. So the dance continues. Whoa, spinning attack by Hill with the 10-second clapper. Nice right hand by Hill. 3rd round coming up.
He's way more tired than you are. He's feeling it. Those knees are working. He's way more tired than you are. Work your game and keep working this, all right? Get good positions. Get some good positions, but you got this, man. We're going to work a little bit more. We're going to have to try to get some better shit off this one. If you can get a 13, let's get a 13. But let's fix it. Let's figure it out. You want this water?
Bell works with Institute of Combat in 21 Grams Gym under head trainer John Thompson.
No need to rush. Just keep working with him. He's feeling it.
Again, came in way overweight, had to surrender 20% of his purse to Josh Hill, but now going into this final round, John, how do you have it on your unofficial scorecard and why?
You know, it was that the second round could have gone either way. It was not a round where you saw either guy. I'm going to go with the 2 body kicks that did the most damage. I'm going to give it to Cass Bell just to say both guys need this last round.
3rd and final round. Bell moving forward out of the southpaw stance. High guard employed by Josh Hill. Pawing with his left hand. And counters with the right. Slip and whip.
Let's go. Touch back if that happens. Touch back. Let's go. You can start working behind that jab. We haven't known this jab yet. Angle. There we go. Set it up. Boom. Down, forward.
Oblique kick there by Bell. But where is the aggression, the explosion? This is it, John, right? Just over 4 minutes left. Tactical, conservative affair, but...
Both guys conservative.
Amen.
Both guys worried about making the mistake instead of saying, you know what, I'm just going to create opportunities. I got to go after him. I'm going to force him into making a mistake.
Yet you got a paying audience to pay to see a fight.
This is true.
And for their respective careers. Cass Bell, Josh Hill, with so much more experience, yet unable to really take advantage of that.
Well, if you're being honest about Josh Hill is fighting, it's too conservative.
Yes, and that has been a popular refrain during his Bellator tenure.
Absolutely. That's why, if you take a look at his fights, he hasn't been in that winning position that he normally has been throughout his career.
Is that, again, we're not talking about it, it can be mental, it can be a variety of things.
Sure. But at 36 years of age, when you're fighting in the lower weight classes, especially bantamweight, speed is an elemental factor to where you start to slow down, and just the little differences of that speed make huge differences.
Bell is coming closer and closer with that left head kick.
Yes, he is. He needs to switch it up. Go to the body again with it, like he did earlier in the second round.
Fight has been predominantly contested in the stand-up. According to fight stats, Josh Hill, 58 of 91 in total strikes. Caspel, 43 of 115. A lot of knees being thrown at close quarters, but now single shots, pot-shotting, John.
Pot-shotting, there you go. There's a 1-2 by Caspel there.
3 and 4 are wondering why they aren't involved.
Josh Hill has gotten into this element where he's basically throwing ones. He's either throwing the right hand, looping right hand, sometimes throws the jab out. Every now and then a spinning attack, but everything's ones.
One is the loneliest number. A minute 45 remaining in the fight. Bell flashing the jab. Hill going downstairs with the low kick, looking for the counter right hand. Bell now explodes, jabs, and exits.
At least Caspel's going forward. He's going after him.
Final 90 seconds.
Needs to throw more too.
Hill looking for the shoot, thought better of it. Uses a lead right hand, back to orthodox. Bell checks the inside low kick. Jab. No rhythm being developed, no sustained offense, and now with 60 seconds left, this is what you train for, John. This is what you put your body through weeks of intense preparation. An opportunity for Caspel to knock off the highly experienced Josh Hill. And Josh Hill literally trying to fight here to remain relevant in a division, even though this is featherweight. Bantamweight, one of the best divisions in the sport, belongs to Bellator MMA.
Absolutely. All bantamweights across the board everywhere. They're just killing it right now. Josh Hill's in a position he's going to be looked at. They're not going to put him in those fights anymore if you're not going to bring it. He's got to bring more action. That was a nice shot right there.
And there runs the pike with the single, but now Bell looking for the submission. 15 seconds left. Again, Hill has never been submitted in this, his 27th professional fight.
Very smart move by Caspel because he was basically negating that takedown. There's been zero ability for Josh Hill to do anything, so now lands a couple of body shots.
So Caspel, Josh Hill embrace after going the full 15 minutes. Both have their hands raised, but maybe they will both have their hands raised if it's a draw. But who do you think won and why?
I think Caspel won, and it was just output. It could be that he lost the second round and he's going to end up losing it 29-28, but I'm taking a look. I gave him the second based upon those two body kicks. Third round goes to Caspel, so I have a Caspel 29-28.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming and watching. Me green, baby. Good. Josh Hill's tough, baby. Thank you, everybody. Especially everyone who made it out, who couldn't make it out. Thank you guys for coming out, baby. I do this for you and everybody else.
So does Caspel record the biggest win of his career? Does Josh Hill get back into the win column despite the The scale fail of Bell. He did acquit himself fairly well. We would have liked to have seen a little more offensive output from both fighters.
Absolutely. I think that was the one thing, if you're looking, both guys, when they go back and look at this, they're going to say, I could have done so much more.
And John, when it takes this long to tabulate the scores?
Normally we have a score that goes against the other scores, so we either have a majority decision or a split decision, I would say.
Or do I say a draw?
I don't think it's going to be a draw. You think a draw?
Well, considering, you know, what we've seen tonight. Hey, we're about to find out who is victorious. Let's go to Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll go now to your three judges at cage side. Your first, Felicia O, scores the fight 29-28. She sees the fight for Bell. Your second judge, Wade Vieira, 29-28. He scores the fight for Hill. Your third and final judge at cage side, Brandon Saucedo, scores the fight 29-28 for the winner by split decision. Gentlemen, Josh Hill.
And there you go. It was via split decision. Gentlemen, Josh Hill bounces back to move to 4-2 in the Bellator cage. Not a popular decision, of course, here in California, Caspel's home state. But Josh Hill escapes by the hair of his chinny chin chin. Let's go back to the fight desk and Amanda Guerra.
Maura Ranallo, thank you so much. Just about 30 minutes away from our main card, kicking off on Showtime, 10 Eastern. Taking a look at the Lightweight World Grand Prix. That is kicking off tonight, and we want to talk about our main event. Usman Nurmagomedov going up against Vincent Henderson. Josh, we're going to talk so much about Vincent Henderson, 39 years old. He's already won 2 different belts in 2 different promotions. He wants to win the Bellator belt. It could very well be his last chance tonight, but I want to talk about Usman Nurmagomedov. He is 24 years old. Obviously, his name synonymous with MMA. What makes him so good at what he is doing at such a young age?
Well, he's trained with the best lightweights in the world. His composure is definitely something that makes him one of the best fighters in the world. What I like to see out of him, though, tonight is his relaxation. I want to see how he is able to control and dictate the pace of this fight, because Vincent Henderson can pick it up. He can try to push Usman to the fence, make him fight an uncomfortable fight, or he can stay on the outside and try to pick him apart or try to wrestle. Benson Henderson is one of the most well-rounded fighters in the world. How does Usman Nurmagomedov deal with that type of experience?
Usman, 24 years old. Vincent Henderson, 39. He will be 40 later this year. We'll see if he can win the belt tonight. That is our main event, again, kicking off 10 Eastern on Showtime. Maura, we're going to go back down to you.
All right, Amanda, thank you very much. The final prelim fight at Bellator 292 here at the Shark Tank in San Jose, California. Enrique Barzola battles. He hopes
batters and battles.
Yes, he hopes to batter Eric Perez, who's been gone a long, long time.
Look, I've got right now these records show because they're so close in their records, but the one thing that is different is Barzola has fought at lightweight. He's fought at featherweight, then went down to the bantamweights for a long time. This one is now back up at featherweight, 145.2 to 145.4.
Here's Michael C. Williams.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, here at the SAP Center, the time has come to conclude the prelims here at Bellator 292. And we'll do it now with 3 5-minute rounds in the featherweight division. Introducing the blue corner at 5'8", weighing in 145.4 pounds. His professional record, 20 wins, 8 defeats, from Monterrey, Nuevo Leon, Mexico, presenting Eric Don Goyo Perez. And across the cage, his adversary out of the red corner at 5'7", weighing in 145.2 pounds as a professional. 18 victories, 7 losses, 2 draws, from Lima, Peru. Please welcome Enrique El Fuerte Barzola. And the referee in charge, Jason Herzog.
Enrique Barzola returns to the featherweight division for the first time since 2019. The 672-day layoff is the longest of Eric Perez's nearly 15-year career. Round one. Barzola looking to snap the first two-fight losing streak of his career. Perez, last time he was in action, he beat Blaine Shutt at Bellator 258, but again, back in May of 2021.
Yeah, it's been a while, but both these guys love to come forward. I think this is going to be an exciting fight. Perez likes to get into these stand-up wars. Barzola loves to grind you. He wants to break you physically and mentally.
And Barzola loves to bring the pressure, and he has the cardio to back it up, and especially now, not having to cut as much weight, he might be even that much fresher, and he looks like very aggressive start. Good counter by Perez. Nice right hand from Barzola, and an eye poke.
Barzola landed 2 right hands, but he did get stuck in the eye there.
Okay, you got a little time. Yeah, you got a little time. Yeah. You're doing the same, I know. Be careful with your fingers when you're judging. You got a little time to relax your eye. You just let me know how much time
Here
you
you'll
need.
see the replay. The kick comes. He does a nice job of scooping the leg. Throws it, but when
just be careful with your fingers.
Perez tries to land that right hand,
watch that.
Notice the leg comes down and the fingers go out right into the eye.
Can you see okay? You good? All right, guys. Careful, both of you, yeah? Let's go.
Action resumes. Big body kick by Perez, and then unloading a combination. Barzola right in front of him, darting in and out and trying to find his range. Sharp jab and plenty of striking going on here. Just over a minute gone in this featherweight fight. Frenetic action.
Oh boy, they're both throwing hard right now.
And Barzola level change stuffed by Perez. Perez went 7-2 in the UFC, made his pro MMA debut in May of 2008. He was set to return in April of last year against C.J. Hamilton, but had to withdraw due to undisclosed reasons. 6-2 since leaving the UFC back in 2014. Body kick by Perez. Body shots by Barzola. Beautiful timing. Level change, gets a takedown.
You saw when he throws through that hand, hit Perez right in the face, dropped levels, got into his legs. This is what Barzola loves to do. He wants to drag you down, put weight on you, and just make you work really hard past the point where you're comfortable, and he just continues to push that pressure.
Perez 20-8 with 5 knockouts, 8 submissions, has been knocked out and submitted twice. Barzola 18-7-2 with 5 KOs, 4 submissions, has been submitted, never knocked out. In fact, he was finished by Nurmagomedov in the Bantamweight Grand Prix, and now Barzola again looking for the takedown. Perez looking to stymie it.
Yeah, he went from the single to the double leg. He had those hands, but his neck was there caught. That's why he had to let go with his hands. Nice job by Perez.
Good pace to this featherweight fight. Just over 2 minutes left in the first. Lead left hook, good body shot counter by Perez as Barzola led with the left hook upstairs. Shotgun jab, and again Barzola determined to get the takedown, but he is now 1 for 4 here in the opening round.
Perez doing a very nice job of stonewalling those shot attempts, dropping his hips down.
And he's actually 1 for 5 now, Joe.
Nice clean elbow by Perez.
Minute and a half remaining. Takedown employed. Perez looking for the guillotine. He has 8 wins via submission, none via guillotine, 5 via rear naked choke. So Barzola now 2 for 6, the second takedown with just over a minute left in the round, and he will try to maximize top position, but Perez active from his back, short shots, open guard. Oh, bell clap there.
Just controlling the posture.
What are we going to see next? A Mongolian shot. 40 seconds left here in the first.
Both guys being offensive on the ground. Nice punches by Barzola.
Brawl. And Perez works his way back to his feet. 30 seconds left in what has been a fantastic start to this fight between Enrique Barzola and Eric Perez. As we come to the close of round one.
You're all the way down, last one.
Coming up later tonight in the main event, Benson Henderson, one of the most affable personalities, one of the great ambassadors of MMA with a lengthy career, nearly 2 decades. In fact, when he started his pro MMA career, his opponent tonight, Usman Nurmagomedov, was just 8 years of age. Henderson won the WEC lightweight title in 2010, won the UFC title in 2012. In his Bellator debut, fell short, challenging for the welterweight title, and then lost via split decision, challenging Michael Chandler for the lightweight title. He gets another opportunity tonight. 3 fights left on his contract. He says 3 fights left in his career. If he wins the tournament, he goes out a champion.
He does go out a champion as if he wins the tournament, but man, he's got a murderer's row to go through to get there. Not that he can't. He has that experience, and he is that good and that tough. But man, that is not an easy task.
And he is the biggest betting underdog of his illustrious career tonight. Usman Nurmagomedov, a massive betting favorite.
Second round, buddy, you ready? You ready?
As we get older, that's what they do.
Man, but he looks amazing for a guy about to turn 40, the elder statesman of the lightweight division. I cannot wait for the quarterfinals to start in the lightweight World Grand Prix. I'm thinking,
oh, big shot.
Barzola just walked. Comes in with a knee.
Nice shot again by Barzola.
And by Barzola, lighting up Eric Perez in the opening minute of the second.
Boy, he had Eric Perez on wobbly legs. Perez was using the cage itself to give him balance. Barzola really landing some clean shots.
Right uppercut, left hook. What a beautiful combination from range by Enrique Barzola. Oh, and again, John, the jab, right uppercut connects.
Perez really needs to move his feet. Right now, he's starting to bite down and stand in one place, looking to throw back. Movement. Movement's going to get you away from your opponent, give you some time.
The last time Enrique Barzola scored a knockout was in his Bellator debut, knocking out former Bellator bantamweight champion Darion Caldwell in the 3rd round. And that was back in January of 2022 at Bellator 273, but Barzola's striking is sharp here in the second.
Boy, he's been landing some clean shots.
After 672 days away from action, takes a while for that cage corrosion. Takes a while for the timing, even the technique, John. And now it's just the blood and guts and the heart of Eric Perez on display because he is getting lit up by Barzola.
Boy, he's getting lit up like a... It's unbelievable right now what Barzola is doing because most of the time we see him trying to use his grappling. He is just using his hands there. He goes into grappling situations, but man, he has lit Eric Perez up in this second round.
And deposits him to his back. It's all Enrique Barzola here in the middle frame, and so far enjoying his return to the featherweight division again for the first time since 2019, after he's lost his last 2 fights against some high-level bantamweight competition. By the way, he lost to Juan Archuleta, former Bellator champ. Going to be competing in Ryzen for the rest of the year. We wish him well after a great job in that New Year's Eve Bellator versus Team Ryzen, where, oh, by the way, Bellator went 5-0.
And Juan Archuleta had a beautiful win against Kim, who is a tough fighter. Closest fight of the night, though. Great job by Barzola. Look at him drag that leg. That was just beautifully done. Bringing the weight up, jerking that leg back, gets the fight to the ground. Now he's just got to take and slowly start to move his head out of this position. He can use his arm to help break that space open. There you go.
We have 90 seconds left here in the second. Barzola working from top position. Perez trying to utilize those butterfly hooks. Has half butterfly hook looking for the up kick. Heel strike. Didn't we recently see that? In a women's fight, that kind of strike. Heel strike to the liver.
Heel strike hurt the opponent. That's right. Aldana.
Sprawl, yes. Sprawled by Barzola.
Look out for the anaconda. Now he's deciding to go around.
Final minute of the fight. And Enrique Barzola, or excuse me, the second round. Final minute of the round. Thank you. Hey, it's flying by. And we're coming up on top of the hour. A lot of action. 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 Pacific. Bellator 292 main card begins. And boy, 4 fantastic fights coming your way. And this is proving to be a fantastic way to wrap up the preliminary portion of Bellator 292. 27 seconds left in the second round. Knee strike to the ribcage by Barzola.
Barzola's he's got a huge gas tank. He just can go and just drive a pace that wears his opponent down. And all the shots that he's landed here, they've had an effect on Eric Perez.
And Perez is going to need that 5 minutes that I almost robbed him from. Coming up now, third round is up next.
Look at this. It's the right hand right there. Clean shot. You see it stumbles Eric Perez back. Catches his balance, but it was well placed. Nice job by Barzola continuously to land clean shots throughout here. Perez fighting back, just not enough to keep Barzola completely off of a big round for Enrique Barzola.
Las manos le van a entrar un montón. Las manos.
Barzola representing American Kickboxing Academy here in San Jose, California. Javier Mendez in his corner. Eric Goyito Perez. He trains out of Alliance MMA and Victory MMA. Eric Del Fiero, longtime MMA coach. His trainer, third and final round. Enrique Barzola looking for a successful return to featherweight. Eric Perez looking for a successful return after the longest layoff of his career.
I think Eric Perez got one round to try to get this back. He's going to have to do something special here.
Meanwhile, it's Enrique Barzola that's been showcasing some special stuff.
Boy, he has just been landing. He's just right out of range of Perez. Perez keeps on throwing hard shots, but they're missing. Barzola takes a nice clean step in, lands his shot, moves back out. Very well done.
Meanwhile, for Eric Perez, he's been doing well in the kicking department. 25 of 36. Barzola's only thrown 2 kicks, or he's been credited for 2. Momentarily dropped after slipping. Counter right, nice combination using the punch and kick by Perez, but he's got to continue to up the ante as Barzola continues to put on the pressure.
Look at those strike stats, Morrow. 71 of 141 compared to 58 of 159. But it's the power of the shots, too. Barzola's have had bigger impact on Perez. He's landed the bigger, heavier shots. It's made a difference in this fight.
Anytime you land 50% or more of your strikes, you're having a great night in the office. Lead left hook curled around the guard of Barzola by Perez, but Perez going to the body. You can never question the cortisone of a Mexican fighter, Eric Perez.
Never.
Standing in the pocket, looking to defend the takedown. Barzola immediately takes his back. Dragging him to the canvas. Putting him in deep water. And Barzola now looking to finish him off as Barzola looking for the submission, the rear naked choke, as all 4 of his submission wins have come via RNC for Barzola.
Well, he's got the ability right now. Notice he's got the hand trapped of Eric Perez just with his leg. He can get his one arm free from being where it's at so he can slide it. He's just using a seatbelt right to control the position. Never even attempted any type of submission. A very heavy ride. Now he's going into a figure 4 of the body lock. See if he can get it.
And there has it, momentarily sliding the arm under the jaw of Perez, but still just trying to maintain position, trying to set up a potential submission attack.
Absolutely. Well, when you saw Perez looking to take the leg and remove the leg, where was his hand? You saw Enrique go towards that choke.
No quit in Eric Perez. 672-day layoff. And he was put in the blender tonight by Enrique Barzola. And now Barzola looking to secure the rear naked choke.
It's not there.
Not there yet. And of course, all the sweat. Such a late time in the fight going to make it that much more difficult.
Sometimes the sweat helps you. Helps it slide. That chin all of a sudden pops. Boop.
True.
And you have it. But it's also the positioning. Where is he on his back?
Perez blindly attacking Barzola. And Enrique Barzola continues to control here in the third and final round and in the final 60 seconds of this featherweight fight as we put the cap on the Bellator 292 prelims here at the SAP Center in San Jose, California. The 17th anniversary of California's first legally sanctioned mixed martial arts event held in this arena 17 years ago tonight. And tonight, the main card, we will be bringing you a stacked night of Bellator MMA at the top of the hour on Showtime as Barzola again fishing for the RNC.
He's looking for it, but again, his hand is going to have to switch those hands up a little bit. Not quite where he wanted to be, but he's just dominating Eric Perez on the ground right now.
Right into side control is Enrique Barzola smothering Eric Perez, and life pretty good for Barzola in his return to 145 pounds. Okay, while we wait the official decision, John, let's take a look at that much anticipated main card. Really stacked top to bottom, of course, taking center stage. The beginning of the 8-man lightweight world Grand Prix. Usman Nurmagomedov puts his perfect record and title on the line against Benson Henderson, looking to become a 3-time major MMA champion. Tofik Musayev meets Alexander Shabliy. Tournament dark horse could emerge from that one. Then it's a rematch. Valentin Moldavsky outpointed Linton Vassell 4 years ago when Vassell made his return to the heavyweight division. Vassell has since won 4 in a row, and it doesn't get better when it comes to a clash of styles. KO king for Bellator, Michael Page. Submission king for Bellator, Goichi Yamauchi. They will kick things off at the top of the hour on Showtime.
Can I win?
And speaking of the king, Usman Nurmagomedov at 24, the youngest champion in Bellator MMA history. And what you talk about a stacked card. He's got a stacked corner, including Islam Makhachev, who is the UFC lightweight champion.
I'll tell you what, it's the way these guys carry themselves, the way they train together, the way they take care of each other. It's super impressive. And at 24 years of age, he is years ahead in maturity.
And Burt Watson, who keeps all the fighters fired up. There is no greater hype man or supporter for these incredible athletes. And for Usman Nurmagomedov, again, making his maiden voyage as Bellator lightweight champion in the lightweight world Grand Prix. Let's find out from Michael C. Williams, who emerges victorious in this fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, from your judges' scorecards, your first, Elliot Kelly, scores at 29-28, while judges Michael Gingona and Ron McCarthy both see it the same, 30-27. All have it for the winner by unanimous decision, Enrique El Fuerte Barzola.
Welcome back to the featherweight division, Enrique Barzola, as he improves to 19-7-2, spoiling the return of Eric Perez. Coming up, top of the hour, it is the launch of the 8-man Bellator MMA Lightweight World Grand Prix, a top 10 heavyweight title eliminator, and Bellator's all-time KO king against Bellator's all-time submission king. Don't miss Bellator 292's main card from the Shark Tank in San Jose, California.
They're coming for the belt, and they're coming for the bag.
They're all about knocking each other out of the tournament.
Yes, I'm on a mission. The $1 million Bellator Lightweight Grand Prix begins with a monster match. Undefeated 24-year-old champ Usman Nurmagomedov makes his first title defense against 30-win veteran Benson Henderson.
There you go. I'm a certified winner.
Bellator MMA, tonight on Showtime.